A very good evening and happy Father's Day. Tonight, as we bring you the day's top stories, we also celebrate the fathers, their strength, the sacrifice and the quiet resilience of fathers, both alive and those in heaven. My name is William Evans, and these are the headlines tonight. Health experts have emphasized that cross-sector collaboration is key to closing the research gap in clinical trials and vaccines across Africa, while leaders and employees from some public and private institutions said that the role of men in promoting gender equality between men and women is crucial. On the international scene, the miracle survivor of the Air India disaster has told how he slipped out of the blazing plane when he realized he was alive. Of course, many thanks for joining me. My name is William Evans, and of course, this is RwandaTV News in English. Now, health experts have emphasized that cross-sector collaboration is key to closing the research gap in the clinical trials and vaccines across Africa. This was highlighted on the first day of the 5-day conference that has brought together over 1,600 participants from 76 countries across the world. Adams Kwizera has a report on this story.
Today's session builds on that momentum.
In a session focusing on building national and regional capacity in research and epidemic research, it was noted that there is major challenges in medical research and diagnostic capacity. Dr. Albert Twishime, head of Department of Disease Prevention and Control at RBC, explained that diagnostic systems across the continent remained undeveloped.
The rationale or the motivation of having this kind of gathering. The second challenge is about the gaps we are still having in the service provision. And these gaps, they are mainly in diagnostics and treatments, especially in some programs such as mental health and non-communicable diseases. Because for the last 15 to 10 years, we focused more on infectious diseases and maternal and child health. Now, these new programs or priorities need to be considered in our plans.
However, it was also highlighted that the government of Rwanda has introduced key strategies to bridge these health system gaps, using Rwanda's response to major outbreaks such as COVID-19 and Marburg as an example. Dr. Leo Mutesa, a professor at the University of Rwanda, demonstrated that African countries can find homegrown solutions by leveraging available resources.
During the COVID pandemic, we had some of the homegrown solutions. Remember, it was very difficult just to test during this pandemic. Some of the African countries could not have access to solutions for testing. So in Rwanda, we had this, for example, this technology that we invented, which could just save the cost, but also accelerate the control of pandemic. At that time, by having the technology respond quickly during the Marburg last year, which was also the case. I don't have a slide here. That's to show you that we build upon those experience to come up with some of the innovative solutions that can support the country, but also the continent, to address the issue of the gap between the different research, clinical research, and vaccine manufacturing.
Nikesa Ndembi, Deputy Director General of IVI Rwanda, stated that building the capacity of researchers in clinical trials and vaccine development requires political will and the establishment of appropriate infrastructure.
We have a lack of sufficient and appropriate R&D infrastructure. It can be argued. We do have centers of excellence, but they are not cross-talking, they are not networking. We need to really have a network of networks to be able to leverage those resources and put them really available to the young scientists to be able to drive their science and research across the continent.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Sabin Sanzimana, stressed that the collaboration among African nations is vital in strengthening the continent's health systems.
% of the global diseases that we have, 25%. in sub-Saharan Africa. And on this continent, we have nearly 20% of the global population. It's a very young population, a lot of health issues that we're dealing with. But I try to compare it with our contribution to the global clinical trial research networks. Only 3%. I looked at this number 10 years ago, same statistic 10 years ago. By then, it was 2%. So in the last 10 years, we improved from 2% to 3% clinical trials research contribution to the global research as a continent. So as we talk about research and partnership, as we talk about addressing disease from the root causes, understanding from our diversity in genetic differences in communities that live on this continent and beyond. We need also to have this balance in representation of research. And we only work if we train young people, young researchers sitting here to do the basic research, to do small steps towards addressing this legacy of gaps to something that is not for the continent, it's something for the world.
Over 1,600 global health leaders from 76 countries are gathering to spotlighting breakthrough research and how science, evidence, are building resilient health systems across Africa and beyond. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams. Now, members of the Liberal Party have pledged to play a role in advancing Rwanda's development agenda, particularly in line with the National Strategy for Transformation 2. We do have a report on this report.
In
the keynote address that opened the Day 1 training for PL's Executive Committee and the Bureau representatives, the chairman of the Rwanda chapter of the Pan-African Movement emphasized that Rwandans must free themselves from the belief that foreign aid will build the nation they aspire to. He urged participants to rely more on local resources and capacities.
A resilient economy
A resilient economy is one that can survive when the foreign aid fails. We need to have three things our party can put more effort in, and one of them is thinking on how we master internal markets and figuring out some of the imports we can start producing locally.
PLA party members affirmed that the training was a valuable opportunity to reflect on the party's 5-year manifesto and the second phase of the government's development acceleration plan. They also saw it as a moment to strategize on how to better harness local resources for homegrown solutions.
One is through the Pan-African movement, which is talking about resilience of Rwanda. How are we transforming the resilience in the Institute? And from the Institute, how our commissions in the party, Liberal Party, will be able now to operate and make effective what Rwandans want and what the members of the leadership of the Liberal Party want, and also what the members of the Liberal Party want. So we are trying to have a deep understanding of NST2, what the government has planned in different pillars. You know, NST2 has 3 pillars: economic transformation, social transformation, and transformational governance and other cross-cutting areas. So we are trying to understand that, but also to link that with the mindset of Pan-Africanism. And that Rwandan African context is the one we are trying to link with NST2 to help our members, the members of PAIR and also other Rwandans in general, to take these opportunities that the government is planning in NST2, but to scale up so that together, collectively, we can achieve sustainable development.
The first vice president of PL Party noted that Rwanda's history has taught the country the importance of self-reliance, emphasizing that the responsibility of national building should not rest with a few individuals alone, thereby calling on party members to commit wholeheartedly to supporting the country's development goals.
kugira ngo bigerweho neza ari uko hagomba kubaho ikintu cyo kumva ko buri wese abifitemo uruhare.
For NST2 objectives to be achieved successfully, everyone must know that they have a role to play, and we must have the same mindset. As a party, we must align our vision and efforts with this vision, so our members too must actively contribute to this mission, because Rwanda's development is a combination of efforts by all citizens and leaders, and it's upon to us to put this into action.
Those who attended the training, particularly representatives of the commissions working within the PLE party, were encouraged to share the lessons learned with other members to collectively strengthen homegrown efforts that will drive Rwanda towards the development it seeks. Now to matters agriculture, farmers in Rwanda are about to benefit from a significant scientific breakthrough, new potato and cassava varieties that are resistant to major diseases and require no pesticides use. For years, farmers in the northern and western provinces have faced the devastating losses from the late blight that attacks potato crops during the rainy season. Treating it with chemical pesticides, they say, is costly and harmful to pollinators like bees. Meanwhile, cassava farmers, especially in Ruhango district in the southern province, have struggled with the Kabole disease that significantly reduces yield. Now, thanks to a sustained agriculture research by Rwanda Agriculture and Animal Resources Development Board branch, which is in Musanze and Rubona, new disease-resistant seeds have been developed. And for potatoes, the breakthrough comes after 2 successful test seasons, where the new variety grew healthily without a single pesticide treatment, while our traditional seeds planted alongside failed to survive. Now, the results were achieved through a collaboration with the International Potato Center, while Dandamirwa and Victoria varieties were sent to labs in Kenya, where they were genetically enhanced to resist the late blight.
We have potatoes that don't grow in Africa, they grow in South America, and they have the genes of Obwoko. Is it, you call them Obwoko? Yes. Obwoko. We took the Obwoko from those potatoes and we put them here. So these varieties, they have been developed by us Africans for Africa. Because some people say, when you bring this one, it is from outside Africa. This was developed in Nairobi, and now we are looking forward with Atanase and the lab scientists to develop other varieties for Rwanda with the same technology, and it is going to take us very short time, maybe 2 to 4 years, to come up with another variety that is good as this.
Cassava front, the new Kabore-resilient variety, has been undergoing trials at Rab Rubona for 4 years and is now ready to be distributed to farmers for broader testing. This advancement comes at a crucial time. According to the United Kwanzaa 2024 report, Africa is expected to spend about $110 billion on food imports in 2025, a dramatic rise from the current $50 billion US. The FAO reports that in 2023, 283 million Africans faced food insecurities, while 30% of the African children are stunted due to poor nutrition. Rwanda's Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Dr. Edouard Ngirente, recently emphasized the importance of technological innovation in agriculture during the 2025 African Conference on Agriculture Technology held in Kigali, stating that Africa must modernize its farming sector to achieve food security.
To address these barriers and secure the future of agriculture in Africa, we must leverage technology and innovation as essential drivers of its transformation. Today, hard work alone is no longer sufficient. Agriculture must be sustainable and attractive, especially for our young generation. To achieve this, we need to integrate technology and innovation across our efforts to transform the sector. Indeed, technology and innovation are essential pillars of modern agriculture and are no longer optional.
Last year, Rwanda passed a law regulating biotechnology and genetically enhanced crops, joining a growing list of African nations that allow such technologies, including South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, Malawi, Ghana, Sudan, and Eswatini. Through the National Strategy for Transformation, NST2, Rwanda aims to grow its agriculture sector by 6% annually and boost productivity by 50% over the next 5 years, with technology serving as a key driver of that growth. This development marks a promising step forward for a sustainable farming, reduced chemical use, and greater food security, not only for Rwanda, but also potentially across Africa. Now, leaders and employees from some public and private institutions say that the role of men in promoting gender equality between men and women is very crucial. We do have a report on this. The management of these institutions says that after adopting measures to increase the number of women who are often underrepresented in certain roles, they've now taken a further step to also ensure the rights of men working in these institutions so that they are not left behind. What men are capable of doing, even women can do. That is the mindset, and so both men and women are entitled to equal rights. Women should be paid equally like men, and if we have male technicians, then we can also have female technicians. We have also considered, as an institution, to give men days off when their wives give birth so that they can support their wives and also play an active role in parenting and child support. Whether it's a man or a woman working in the factories, we have a routine of giving them gifts when they give birth. The Minister of Gender and Family Promotion, Uwimana Konsole, believes that the policy of gender equality and complementarity between men and women will reach its goals when both public and private institutions fully embrace and implement it.
I encourage all institutions represented here today to take action, go beyond compliance. As our colleague from REG have said, all start by policy. Devise your internal policy, your programs and practices. You can always types and promote shared responsibility. The government of Rwanda is committed to working in partnership with the private sector, civil society, and development partners to promote gender accountability and national standards and systems.
In some institutions, the ratio of men to women is not the only indicator of gender policy implementation. Instead, the priority is ensuring rights and responsibilities are respected without discrimination based on gender.
Moments. Playing hoops. Giving away. Making moves. Breakfast with family. Inyanje is always there. Whatever the occasion, whatever the moment, always ask for Inyanje.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi hari abamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njya muri kaminuza hari abanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashije, ariko byaragendaniza amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye zibimaho. Bigereho.
Many thanks for keeping around for RTV News. We now continue with international news. Now, doctors in India say that 270 bodies have been recovered from the site of the Thursday's airplane crash. Officials have also been trying to establish how many people were killed on ground and have also continued the slow process of matching the DNA samples to confirm the victims' identities. Vigil honoring the dead has been taking place across India and in the UK. India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is leading the inquiry into the cause of the crash, helped by teams from US and the UK. BBC has details.
An angry Ghulam Rasool demanding the body of his friend Javed at the city hospital in Ahmedabad.
This is an emergency case and the DNA report should come out quickly, but the authorities are not doing anything about it.
Javed was among those killed when the London-bound Air India flight crashed on Wednesday. In another corner, more angry voices. "Give my son's body back," shouts one man. The process is slow. Families first have to submit DNA samples for identification, and then they're asked to go to the government mortuary.
Now, there's a cold storage room inside where the bodies have been kept under freezing conditions till the time their family members can come forward and identify them. Now, they're being charred beyond recognition. So just outside this place, there is a table where officials are sitting to confirm a DNA match. Now, these are the family members who've already given their DNA samples in another hospital. And once they have been matched, they've been called here to show their identification. And after that, they've been allowed to go inside.
And by the evening, some answers begin to arrive. Officials say they've had DNA matches for a total of 11 victims so far. Among the first to be identified was a young medical student, Aryan Rajput. His family took his body home to the central Indian city of Gwalior for a final farewell. They're also seeking the truth behind this flight crash.
That tragic incident.
The government says it's speeding up the probe.
One important update from the technical investigation, which is happening through the AIB, is the recovery of the black box yesterday around 5 p.m. We are also eagerly waiting for what the results or the report is going to be.
Back at Ahmedabad's hospital, empty coffins arrived to transport the last remains of the crash victims. A grim reminder of the loss and the long wait for many families. Devina Gupta, BBC News, Ahmedabad.
The miracle survivor of the Air India disaster has told how he slipped out of the blazing plane when he realized he was alive. The Sun has more on this.
Everything happened in front of my eyes. I don't know how I survived. For some time I thought I was also going to die. But when I opened my eyes, I realized I was alive, and I tried to unbuckle myself from the seat and escape from where I could. It was in front of my eyes that the air hostess and others died. After the takeoff, within a minute, it felt like the plane came to a standstill for 5 to 10 seconds. The green and white cabin lights turned on in the flight. I could feel engine thrust increasing to go up, but it crashed with speed into the building. The side of the plane I was in, it landed on the ground floor of the hostel. I don't know about the other part of the plane, but where I landed was on the ground. I could see that there was space outside the aircraft, so when my door broke, I tried to escape through a little space, and I did. On the opposite side of the plane was the building wall, so nobody could have escaped. The plane crashed there. There was some space where I landed. I don't know how I managed to escape. It was in front of my eyes that the air hostess and others died.
Indeed, such a miraculous survivor. Now, with that story, we come to the end of tonight's edition. But of course, before we go, we want to encourage you to continue celebrating all those who have carried the weight and the wonder of fatherhood. I am William Evans. See you next time. Good night and good luck.